talking. Keep talking.
1, 2, 3. Clear?
Not clear.
Not clear?
Do you know what to do when the unthinkable happens? Can you help rescue a family member or a neighbor or a total stranger who is in need? From snowstorms to terror attacks to raining debris from a space tragedy, you never know when you will be called to help in a crisis. Chaplains are no strangers to disasters. They're among the first on site when things go wrong, but their help is more spiritual than physical. Until today.
Chaplains are being trained throughout the United States basically to assist in their own neighborhoods, with their own people, with their own friends, and then again in any place that they might be in the country should an emergency occur.
A handful of chaplains from different faiths and different communities traveled to Philadelphia to learn how to be more than just spiritual support to rescue workers.
In addition to spiritual triage, you are able to give back a sense of learning to your community, to teach the community things that are necessary for its own preservation should a disaster occur.
Or it might just come down to I may be the only one that's available.
These are all members of the Chapel of Four Chaplains, a non-denominational group of clergy that promotes community service. To understand why they're getting this training today, you need to go back 60 years.
It took place early in the morning on February the 3rd, 1943 in the North Atlantic, not far from Greenland. A German submarine had torpedoed the troop ship and it sank in a little over 20 minutes, so there was a great deal of panic.
There were not enough seats available on the lifeboat, so without hesitation, the chaplains gave up their seats to 4 young servicemen.
They were last seen by the survivors, standing together at the rail, arms interlocked, praying to the same God, each in their own way, as they went down with the ship.
With their death, the Chapel of Four Chaplains was born, named in honor of chaplains Fox, Washington, Good, and Poling. That wartime horror would guide a group of men and women years later. September 11, 2001, minutes after the terror attack, chaplains were on site. They did not leave until months later when the recovery effort was officially completed.
Our first day on the scene, we walked into the pit area, and there was 2 recoveries within 5 minutes. And I joined at that point with a fire chaplain from Chicago, and we had a service right there for the recovery of the remains of 2 individuals. But I remember this one female NYPD officer, and she was just having a real difficult time, and we sat down and talked for about an hour and a half. And she finally shared her frustration that she remembered that day, and she said, we could hear them calling on the radio for help, but we couldn't find them.
The dedication that you saw in the midst of a huge cemetery, I don't believe anybody could come away without assessing what that experience had on ourselves. That what we may have done before, we may do the very same things later, but certainly with a different attitude.
For this group, the new attitude means getting the emergency training to provide more than comfort. These pastors, rabbis, clerics were inspired by what they experienced at Ground Zero. They want to be part of the solution when times are tough.
There needs to be somebody to go back to the community and help to kind of organize a reasonable response to those tragedies.
And getting that training that, although I will always yield to the emergency personnel, that if needed, I know what to do.
Straight out if you can.
But even as they learn the latest emergency skills, they do not forget their real mission, healing not just bodies, but hearts.
After seeing people in life and death situations and coming back and hearing some of the things that sometimes you hear in everyday life, for about a month or so, it was difficult to take some of it seriously because it didn't seem as important as before. But you got to meet people where they are.
We've been touched by those people.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in our local situation. We're touched by the people every day. And if we're not, we shouldn't be doing what we're doing.
It was 60 years ago today that the USS Dorchester went down. The chaplains tell me the interfaith spirit that was alive then thrives with the group today. At Ground Zero, for example, there were clergy from every religion working side by side. As they dealt with distraught rescuers, no one ever asked the question what religion someone was. It just didn't matter. Art and Connie, the lessons of a generation ago, still guiding us today. In Philadelphia, I'm Mary Fay, CN8 News.